Welcome to Real Life with Jenny. My name's Jenny Senapataratna. Grab your favorite drink, get yourself a snack, and we will get started. Today I have a carameled apple. It is not the best carameled apple I've ever had because it was like $1.20. So, there we are. And I have some English breakfast tea with lemon flavoring and sugar and cream, of course. Why would I not have that? Anyway, let's get real. So, a few weeks ago, I had one of those mornings where you're just a little slower than the average morning. Now, this has kind of become my pattern. Like, I'm not really great in the morning. I don't really think in the morning. I take it very slow. And it was one of those very slow mornings, and I was getting ready, and one of the towels that we use fell off of the hook and it fell to the ground. And it was at that moment that I was like, do I just leave it there or do I pick it up? And the thought ran through my mind, don't be lazy, Jenny, pick up the towel. Now, this is an average thought process for me, right? Like, this is not anything extraordinary or like, Jenny, a towel fell on the ground. Why are we podcasting about it? And I'll tell you why. Because it was a moment that God spoke to me. I looked in the mirror and I just felt like God was like, remember this moment. And I'm like, okay, it's not significant. What did I, like, is my thought process not appropriate here? And to be fair, that is something I'm working on. I am rewriting my thought processes and what I think about myself. So my daughter and I have talked a lot about this, and I might have even talked about it on the podcast. I'm not sure at this point if I share it in person or if I share it on the podcast. It's all blurring together at this point. So, but I try to take captive those thoughts now. Where I used to go, yeah, you're lazy. Absolutely. That's something that is a belief in my life that I feel like I'm a lazy person. And so when I looked at the towel and I thought, don't be lazy, Jenny, pick up the towel, I was like, am I calling myself lazy? Am I in that space of I'm living back in that lie? Now, I'm not a lazy person. I'm actually a very hardworking person. It just, my life looks different than other people's because my level of being able to do things is maybe not as high as everyone else. I don't know. Or I just compare myself and then I feel lazy. Now, I just want to stop right here because I feel like there are people in life that live the way I do. And I actually went to a doctor once, and it was like a chiropractor kind of situation. I don't know. It was not against chiropractors. It was just kind of a weird situation. And she talked about that my body is always in full gear. Like my foot is always pedal to the metal. Like I am always going. I never take off the gas and coast through life. Like my adrenaline is always pumping. Like I'm always looking for that new thing to kind of keep me going. And I never relax. And so that is something that I have spent the last probably 10 years since that date trying to figure out how to have better balance in my life. And I just want to say that there are moments in your life where it's okay to leave the towel on the ground. There are moments in your life where you have been putting the pedal all the way to the ground and you are exhausted. And you need to take a break and you need to coast for a little bit. You need to just go, I can take a break here. And I'm not taking vacations. Those are great. Those are important. Although if you have children, I don't think they count as vacations because they're just as much work at home than they are out and about, in my personal opinion. So I'm not talking vacations. I'm talking about giving yourself a moment. I'm talking about saying, you know what? I don't need to push as hard today. I can take today and I can just coast. It's going to be okay. You maybe just need that permission today. That was not what was happening for me that day. And so I have been thinking about this towel falling to the ground for probably it's been almost a month, guys. Like, it is something that I'm like, this is crazy. But it all clicked for me about a week ago. I've been meeting with people and just trying to That's what I do. I love that. And I love being able to hear what's going on in people's lives and, form friendships. And I don't give a lot of advice because that's not really my role in life. My role is to listen and to use God's word, right? Because the Lord really has a lot to say about so many things. And one of the things that has become a theme with a lot of the people I'm meeting with, I have something that I need to do, but. And I hate that word. I hate that really stops everything. That says, you know what? I am not qualified, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. And one of the things that has kind of become a big deal in certain people's thought process that have talked to me, I need to clean up before I can do what I'm supposed to do. And I just have been kind of irritated about it and not really 100% sure why. And then I went back to the towel. And you're like, Jenny, where are you going? You've completely lost me. And that's okay. Stick with me. I promise it will go somewhere. Because I remember the moment that towel fell to the ground. And I thought, don't be lazy. You can pick it up. Because really, no one in my household would have had any idea that it fell in my presence. Because I didn't touch it. I wasn't around it. It just happened to gravity took charge of it at that exact moment. No one would have known. I could have left it there and not been blamed for it falling on the ground, nor would it have done any damage to anyone. Someone else, or I could have come back later and hung it up. Like, it wouldn't have mattered. It did not matter in the grand scheme of life. Except that I wasn't going to allow myself to have excuses to not move forward in my life. And hanging that towel up right then just was a symbol of, I'm not going to allow things to stand in my way anymore. And that is something that has become a theme in a lot of people's lives. Like, we've been talking about goals and dreams and aspirations and, going after what God has for you, except all of the excuses that you've put into place to not actually do that. And they're good excuses. When you read through the Bible, and you hear people talking to Jesus, and you hear people talking to God in the Old Testament, they don't come up with horrible excuses. In fact, one of the people were like, I've had a death in the family. I can't follow you right now, Jesus. I will follow you later. And he was like, that's not a good enough excuse. Like, it was a good enough excuse. And I understand that there's a lot of theology behind it, and we can dig into all that. I get that. But it was still an excuse to not go after what they said they wanted, right? And I feel like we use excuses because we're afraid, or because we're afraid to fail, or because we just don't really want to do it. We have like these ideas of something you really want to do, and you're like, I really need to clean my house. And that's a valid excuse. Houses need to be cleaned. But I just want to remind you that your house has to be cleaned all the time. There's that pillow that when I had a kid, someone showed it to me. I never got a pillow like that. But it said, cleaning your house with toddlers is like brushing your teeth while you're eating Oreos. Really doesn't make any sense. And I look back at the pictures of our house when I had a toddler, and it makes me giggle because our house was just completely covered in whatever toy she was playing with that week. And it was a week by week basis for her. And books and forts and all kinds of stuff. Like, that season just is kind of chaotic. And then you look at laundry. Laundry never ends. Like, you can finish up all the laundry and someone in your household 30 seconds later decides to change clothes. And there are now clothes in your laundry. Like, it never ends. The excuses never end if you allow them to continue to be the reason that you don't go forward. And so I have just been really challenged by this towel falling to the ground. Now, I realize that it's not a profound thought for a lot of you, But it is something that I just want to address because I really feel like God is like, I see potential in you if you step out and do it and stop using excuses that really are not appropriate. Because our excuses are either I have to get rid of something or I need to go and do something, right? And if you need to get rid of it so you can do what God's called you to do, maybe you don't wait on that. Maybe it needs to be gotten rid of either way, right? If there's something that's holding you back from moving forward, maybe this is something you need to get rid of either way. And it's not something that you need to sit and analyze and have a big discussion about and write down a pros and cons list. Yes, I have done those things. Like, and I'm saying if you know that you're supposed to get rid of it, why wait? Why wait till you're quote unquote ready to start making those changes? Why are we constantly avoiding moving in that direction? And I just want to encourage you, as I am doing the same thing in my life and battling excuses because they're so easy to grab hold of. But we spend more time on our excuses than we do moving forward. We spend more time coming up with them, even like justifying them to ourselves, to other people. We we spend more time on our excuses than we would just moving forward without them. Like we could make progress without them, but we constantly spend more time on them. And I just want you to be a little more conscious about I don't even know if that's the right word. It doesn't matter. We're going to move forward. I want you to be a little more thoughtful about those excuses. Are they becoming more important than what you want to do? Just in general, have they become a crutch in your life? And I know that they're easy to become a crutch because they kind of become your anthem, right? Like, I am cleaning my house. That is what I'm doing. And I'm not saying that's not a great thing. That is a very good thing. But what is it holding you back from? What are you my biggest excuse in my life right now is just one more chapter. If I just read one more chapter, then I can go do this. But I just need to finish one more chapter. And I'm not saying reading is bad. Reading is phenomenal. And it is kind of my whole world. Or I'm doing a puzzle and I'm like, okay, 3 more pieces and then I will. And then all of a sudden I'm at like 6 more pieces and I'm like, oh wait, no, 3 more pieces and then I will go do this. And I'm saying sometimes you just need to put down the excuse and get the thing done. And know that you're going to move forward. Because a lot of my steps backwards are my excuses. They always say 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And yes, there are moments in your life that happens, but a lot of times my 3 steps back are my excuses and the things that I've kind of put in place to like, quote unquote, safeguard myself just in case I failed. Well, I don't know if this is helpful for you this week. I hope it is. I hope that you look around and say, you know what, I'm just going to pick the towel up and move on. And I'm not going to sit here and debate this for 6 hours. Because I have stood there and gone, okay, and maybe not 2 hours, maybe it's been like a full minute that I've kind of just looked at the towel and had to like, do I want to pick it up? Do I not want to pick it up? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it there. Maybe I shouldn't. And I realize that sounds really silly, but we do it all the time. We sit and debate whether we're going to move forward or not because we come up with a bunch of reasons not to. And we don't come up with enough reasons to go forward. And so I'm encouraging you, move forward. Look at your life and see what excuses that you've kind of put into place and you've made a truth in your life. There are lots of things that I have believed in my life that were truth that were not. When I look at the Bible and I look at what he says about me and what he expects out of me, and I look and say, God says I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, And that's not what I see about myself. I need to change that lie into a truth. I need to change the lie that I'm not enough to I am enough, because Jesus died on the cross for me. He sacrificed so I could live and that I could do great things in his name. And I need to stop making excuses. So I hope that's helpful for you this week. I hope that you can really pinpoint some of those things in your life and make some great strides towards what you really want, towards those goals, towards those things that God's calling you to do, and start dreaming, because the excuses stouch that. They like stop the dreaming because you just come up with reasons that you can't even dream. And so I'm just encouraging you to pinpoint those excuses and put truth in its place. Well, you can find me at Real Life with Jenny on Instagram, Facebook, and Be Real. You can also find me at christconnection.cc/Jen. We are booking in 2025. So get out there, start booking me or Kevin, and we would love to come out and speak to your congregation or your group of ladies or whatever is really going on in your life. We would love to step in and really be an encouragement. You all have a great week.